Welcome everyone to another episode of Tutorial Tuesday. It is week 47, 2019. I'm glad that you're along with us. Hey, today you're going to notice a different background. Myself and my good friend Alex Hoover, who's actually holding the camera behind me, we're here shooting an event at Salt Palace, downtown Salt Lake City. Now, I don't have any announcements today, but I do want to send out a special message to my good friend Bruce Dorn, Jessica Simpson, Sarah, Gil, Christy, and all the families involved that made this weekend so special down in Arizona when we were in Monument Valley, and then Mo and Kopi. Thank you all so much for making that so special. Let's get right into your questions. Thoughts on mirrorless cameras? It's funny you ask, because I've been asked to compare the Sony a7 with my limited experience with the Canon EOS R. And you know, I have to tell you right off the bat, the EOS R is so familiar because I've been using Canon for so long. So along with the familiarity of the equipment, my biggest hang-up really with the mirrorless cameras was the frame rate. And I do a lot of using servo, the predictive focusing for the cowboys and stuff that are coming at me. So let me just say right off the bat, the frame rate on the EOS R is absolutely phenomenal. The predictive focusing through servo was outstanding, and I will post a picture so you can see an example of what I'm talking about. This is so good. This is the comedy portion of Tutorial Tuesday, and I absolutely love it. I'm going to show you a picture that Bruce Dorn took of me down in Monument Valley to prove that I can levitate, and it does have anti-gravitational properties. Really good question here. And when you're talking about, style and staying within the same hues, I think maybe what you're talking about is being consistent about your style. In other words, you'll stay kind of within the same color. So what I was saying was staying perhaps within the same, color toning of your images, if you will. And while I think there's some value to that, to being consistent about what you're posting as far as images on Instagram, so having said that, I think it's more important to find your voice in photography or any art form than it is to be consistent about what you're posting. Be more consistent about your voice. Yeah, this is a really good question. So when I'm out on location or when I'm outside, I'm usually shooting in a cloudy white balance, and tends to be warmer. But when I'm shooting indoors, I'll set that temperature myself using a Kelvin scale. Oh man, are the participants for next June's workshop in for a treat? Heck yeah, they are. And their taste buds are also in for an amazing treat with Paisley's catering everything. Sure thing. The age-old question, which color space do I use? In your camera, you can choose between sRGB and Adobe RGB. Just set it to sRGB, and it's the world standard. Just use it, unless you know exactly what you're doing. Hey, look, unless you're out there printing on your own and doing your own thing, you may use Adobe RGB. I've used it. I don't like it. I don't like that color space at all. I think the colors are muted. I like sRGB. So kind of a follow-up question to the previous one, which is, what do you set your color space in Photoshop to? I set that to sRGB. I export everything out of Lightroom and not Photoshop, and that's also set to sRGB. The short answer to the question is yes, it definitely can if you're not taking the right precautions. Now, fortunately for me, I'm not in extreme weather situations, but my friend Bruce is, and I'm going to link to a video. Now, some of the biggest takeaways while shooting in inclement weather, whether that be rain or snow, I do protect my equipment, and I do it on a low-tech level, and I'll show you exactly what that is. Ask of folks that I brand with, especially when it's raining, what I use. I pull out a plastic garbage bag and I rubber band that to my lens and to the body of my camera. That's what I use to protect it from rain. Now, I'm not going to the extreme environments like you see in Bruce's videos, but I will take measures to protect my equipment. That being said, you have to be more concerned about your battery life, and you should be more concerned about those kit cameras as well.